Hello everybody, my name is Guillaume Lestand. I'm a cloud solution advisor and procurement specialist for SAP. We are here today for the 7th webinar about Ariba. This webinar is going to be dedicated to a demonstration about the module managing the supplier information and performance management. In order to help you to understand what kind of value this solution can bring to your organization, let's speak in terms of challenges and let's speak in terms of benefits. Among the top challenges I'm going to speak about today, I'm going to start with data quality. Data quality is crucial for any company. It means to have updated and accurate data about your supplier, but at the same time it can be very complex to handle because of different IT landscape, because of sometimes data is not available anywhere. And this is why, in the end, this kind of activity, even if it's crucial, it can be very tedious and difficult to manage. I'm going to mention also risk. Suppliers count more and more in the value of a company and product and services. It means, for instance, that on average 50% of the risk lays outside the wall of your company. This is why it is crucial to be able to monitor the exposure rate to risk in order to make some decision to, in the end, decrease and lower risk. Most of the time, it is crucial, but it is complex to handle. And I'm going to show you during this demo how Ariba can help you to face this challenge. The last challenge I'm going to mention today is supplier improvement. As supplier is not just supplier anymore, but it's also partner. Partner means a way for co-innovation, for co-development, but it also means that I need to manage my relationship with my partner on a fair and transparent way. This is not always easy because it takes time, and I'm going to show you how this solution, how Ariba can help you to guide you in this process in order to help you to improve your supplier relationship. Now, faced to those challenges, what is Ariba and what is in particular the supplier information and performance management module? First of all, you have to understand that Ariba is a cloud-based solution. Ariba opted for this solution because this technology, because it enables any company to always have the latest version of the solution, and it enables to decrease both IT infrastructure and IT maintenance cost. This is basically the main reason why Ariba opted for this kind of technology. To help any company to handle the data quality challenge, I'm going to mention three main capabilities that are very useful to face and to control this challenge. The first feature, the first capability is about self-service profile. What does it mean? You are going to see in a few minutes that any supplier is going to be able to access to through an external access to his supplier profile. It means that the supplier are going to be able to update by himself all the information. The second capability I'm going to show you is the fact that as a buyer, you are going to be able to manage in mass some mass campaign in order to update supplier information. And the last capability of the solution I'm going to mention is third-party integration. Now let's go to the solution. I'm going to sign in as a supplier. It means that each supplier present in the supplier database is going to be able to access to all the information available about its company, and this supplier is going to be able also to update this information. Ariba is connected to the business network of Ariba. The business network is like a B2B marketplace where seller and buyer can make some business. This platform features capabilities such as invoicing, such as ordering, such as procure to pay and payment capabilities. But this platform also managed to update any information available about the company. It means that this is not just an external portal. This is a place where any company can make business. This is because this company, this network feature such capabilities that we are pretty sure that Supplier are going to update its information. The point is this business network is an open door to the world. It means that when a supplier updates all its information in this portal, the impacts for its business are going to be visible for all its other relationship. This is why basically, because the supplier is going to be able to update once is those kind of information, that the supplier are going to be very interested in doing such activities. This is why in this platform you can see there is different tabs, a lead to identify opportunities coming from the business network. There is proposal, which means each time a supplier is going to be invited to a hierarchic event. This is in this place that the supplier are going to see the opportunities. When a supplier wins a deal on the contract phase, there is a tab to be able to manage, to negotiate the contract. And on the order and invoice step of the process, the supplier are going to be able to see different key information. But for now, from the supplier information and performance management module, I'm going to focus on the capability, the ability of the supplier to update by himself the information. So as a supplier, I can access to the company profile. And in this company profile, I'm going to be able to update all the information I need to update. This is why there is different tabs, one regarding basic information, such as what kind of commodity I am supposed to be able to procure goods and services, what are the different addresses, some business information about the company, the size, organization size of the company, some marketing activities, some marketing information, such as presence in the social media network, the logo of the company, contact, obviously, who is in charge for the different part of the process. Regarding all the data quality and especially certification, insurance certificate and so on, as a supplier, I am going to be able to update all my information and to upload attachments such as the proof that I am certified about some accreditation. And there is also a tab for customer requests and additional documentation. This is basically at the same time, because this business network features the ability for a supplier to update by himself all the information. And at the same time that this business network is not just an external portal, but it's also a place to make business. This is basically for all those reasons that the supplier are going to be very interested in updating all the information. This means, as a buyer, that if the supplier updates by himself all the information, for me it's a savings of time. This is basically the first capability of the solution I wanted to show you. The second capability I want to show you is about the mass update capability of the solution. Mass updates, what does it mean? It means that you have the ability with the solution to identify through the reporting parts, through reporting capabilities that I'm going to show you in a few minutes, that you can identify, for instance, all the supplier with insurance certificate date, for instance, that is going to be expired in 1 month, for instance. Once through the reporting capabilities, I identify those supplier, I'm going to be able to export those supplier in Excel. And then I'm going to be able to perform a campaign in order to, for those selection of supplier, to ask them to update specific information. And I'm going to show you now from the buyer side how can you manage this kind of capability. I'm going to connect as a buyer to the platform. You probably know that Ariba is not only a solution to manage supplier information and performance management, it's also a solution to manage spend analysis, sourcing activities, contract management, procure to pay. This is why you are going to be able to see the different tabs on the upper part of the screen. Each part match with a functional scope that is covered by the solution. From a supplier, from a buyer perspective regarding this kind of activity, if I need to mass update some information, I'm going to start an event like an RFI, but only dedicated, only focus on data collection. So I'm going to start an event. I'm going to define some key information, and I'm going to use a template to guide me to have a step-by-step approach in order to set up and to manage this campaign. So, for instance, I'm going to give a name such as mass update campaign. I'm going to it's a demo, so this is a test project. I'm going to manage kind of RFI, and I'm going to define the department in link with this event, and I'm going to create my event. You are going to see in a few seconds that from the moment I launch the creation of this kind of event, there is a step-by-step approach that you can see through different tabs. I'm going to define the duration of this mass update campaign. I'm going to define if I need the team that are going to be involved in addition to the project owner. I'm going to identify and I'm going to identify and to define the supplier I want to ask them to update the information. And this is why I spoke about you have the ability from the reporting, and I'm going to show you in a few minutes to export some results on Excel, and you are the ability then to import from Excel your information in order to set up and to in a few clicks to set up the different supplier you want to work with. And regarding the content, I'm going to be able to add some prepackaged content which are going to be very useful, especially for a mass update campaign. So I'm going to load some content that is present in the library. In this case, this is for updating. This is for updating supplier information. So I am going to extract some information I want to ask from a supplier profile questionnaire. And this questionnaire is very huge, but I have the ability to refine by topics different information. For instance, regarding sustainability, I am going to be able to pick some key information and then just to copy those key information in the mass update campaign. And then once this the setup is done, I'm going to launch all those. I'm going to launch this campaign, and the supplier from its user profile access are going to see in this tab proposal the different information that a campaign requests its attention in order to update information. And you are going to see this previous campaign regarding mass updates, regarding this mass update campaign. Now I'm going to come back from buyer side, and I'm going to show you the results of such a campaign. I'm going to reopen a previous campaign that is done, and I'm going to show you one supplier reply what looks like the results. I access to the home page of the solution, and on my home page I have an area where I created a kind of short link or a kind of bookmark in order to be able in 1 or 2 clicks to directly access to some projects. And in this case, I'm going to access to a previous project just by clicking on the link. And you are going to see that the different information that were requested during this previous mass update campaign concerned 2 companies, and the topic was general information. And this is, you can see here the different information that the supplier can provide, and this kind of information can provide can be text, can be uploaded document. And once I receive this information, I can validate or reject those information. This means that with this kind of capability, you are going to be able to, from the reporting capability, to identify the supplier, for instance, that whose insurance certificates are going to expire in 1 month, for instance. First step, identify supplier from the reporting capabilities, and I'm going to show you in a few seconds those kind of capabilities. Second things, I'm going from the reporting to export some key information in Excel in order to be able to upload those information later. Third, I'm going to set up a master depth campaign, and during the setup I'm going to upload my previous export regarding the supplier I want to involve. And the second things you are going to be able to do when you set up the mass update campaign is to use a prepackaged template coming from a library. And in this case, the content I wanted to reuse was the content in relation to the supplier profile questionnaire. Once it's done, you launch the campaign. The supplier are going to see that his attention and is requested to respond to this kind of information. You are going to relaunch your supplier, obviously, if they are late regarding the response. And in the end, when you finish to collect all the information, you have the ability to very easily see the different information and to approve and reject those information. This means that without any approval from your side, those information are not going to be loaded in your supplier database. But once you validate that you agree with those information, automatically all the information collected in mass through this kind of campaign are going to populate your supplier database. And basically, this is how you can save time and improve and make your supplier data more accurate. And the last things I wanted to show you today regarding the first challenge about data quality is third-party integration. Ariba solution works in particular, but this is not a limitation. This is more a privileged relationship that we have with Dun & Bradstreet, but we have the ability to work with other third-party supplier information provider. As we work with Dun & Bradstreet, directly in the supplier profile, the supplier is going to be able to enter the dump, the number of done inventories. So I'm going to come back to the supplier. I'm going to go to the supplier profile, and you are going to see that I have the ability here in this region to add the done and break strict numbers, DUNS. From the moment a supplier enter a DUNS, it is very easy to populate your internal database from additional information coming from done and break strict. But once again, if you work with other company for data enrichment, if you have no other specific needs, it is possible through web service to connect the Ariba supplier database, your supplier database, with external third-party information provider in order, in the end, to enrich your supplier database. But basically, as we work with done and break strict, when a company manages supplier relationship with Ariba, it can use the kind of information coming from done and break strict. So to summarize, I have just shown you that the supplier is going to be able to update by himself all the information, and the interest to do that is going to be very high for the supplier, because this platform is not an external portal, it's a place to make business. And once you update the information, all the available information are going to be visible by all its potential customer or by all its customer. This is why the interest for the supplier is very high, and this is why all the company using as a buyer Ariba are going to be able to save time regarding the update of information because of supplier update by himself information. You have also seen that as a buyer, you are going to be able to manage mass update campaign in order to set up an event to collect in mass information from different suppliers. And you also know that we are going to be able to integrate some external information to enrich your supplier database. But we natively work with done and break strict. It means that with Ariba, you are going to be able to see some additional information coming from done and break strict. And in the end, face to the data quality challenge. Those three challenges, this is an highlight obviously, but basically this kind of feature of capabilities are going to help you at the end of the day to improve compliance. And compliance at a lower cost, because you are going at the same time to improve compliance and to reduce your administration cost, because all this kind of activity are going to take less time. This is the first part of the demonstration. I'm going now to present to you the different capabilities and that can be very useful to help any company to monitor risk. I'm going to show you 3 additional capabilities regarding risk management. The first capability I'm going to show you is about assessment. You are going to see that with this module you can run a supplier assessment campaign. I'm going to show you data aggregation. It means that you are going to see in one place, you are going to be able to collect and to gather all the information coming from different parts. And I'm going to show you reporting capabilities that I already mentioned in the previous points. So let's back to the solution. I am connected as a buyer, and it will be too long to present from A to Z a supplier assessment campaign. This is why I'm going to reopen an existing supplier assessment campaign, but I'm going to comment in detail how it's works and so on. So I click from the Watch project, and I remind that the Watch project is a place that I can set up, and I can set up the different projects I want to watch in particular, and by clicking directly on the short link, I'm going to be able to very easily access. Anyway, if I need to access to any other information, I can use the search engine form to access all the information present in the solution. What is a supplier assessment campaign? First of all, when I launch a supplier assessment campaign, I'm going to define what is the supplier I want to monitor. I'm going to define the team I'm going to define the supplier. In this case, this is IT company, the supplier that I previously showed how it looks like to manage to update as a supplier all the information directly linked to the business network. This is the same supplier. Now, as a buyer, I'm going to show you how to perform a supplier assessment campaign for this supplier. This is a previous campaign, as I already said, but when you want to launch, you have to identify the supplier, you need to identify the duration, the start date, the end date. You are going to define if it's relevant in particular, is there a special commodity I want to track, or this is several commodity. I can define some general information regarding region and so on. And I'm going to define a team which are going to be involved in this supplier assessment campaign in general. And basically, there is different tasks that I need to do. And to guide me as buyer to perform this supplier assessment campaign, this is a kind of project management. This means there is different tasks that are defined at the template level. In front of each task can be assigned a document and an owner of the action and a status and sometimes end date. This is why, as a buyer, I can manage this kind of activity as a project and involve different stakeholders from my company in this campaign. So in this case, a supplier assessment campaign was divided in 3 different parts. The first regarding planification of this campaign with different tasks such as schedule the supplier performance campaign, such as create some materials to present to the supplier, such as run a kickoff meeting to launch the project and to present the approach to all the stakeholders. More especially, during this preparation phase, I'm going to be able also in this supplier assessment campaign to run a survey. This is called an IT survey because the commodity and the supplier are in link with this commodity, but basically you can run a survey. What does it mean? It means that you are going to see it's a kind of teeny event inside an event. And in this event, I'm going to define, first of all, some general information, such as end date, a start date, and end date. I'm going to define the participants. What is a survey? Basically, it's a way to collect different information from the stakeholders that work with the supplier, that I want to monitor the performance and the different and some risk criteria. So I'm going to invite different, basically the stakeholder. So let's say this is an IT supplier. So I'm going to involve, for instance, the CIO. I'm going to involve the CTO. I'm going to involve some project manager, in order to assess if they are certified about this supplier regarding different criteria. And the different criteria I want to measure are going to be defined in a questionnaire that I'm going to be able to set up to monitor, for instance, quality, to monitor, for example, account manager, for monitor, for instance, innovation. Basically, it's quality of delivery, respect of time, management of team, ability to bring innovation to the company. This is the common criteria that are normally used and analyzed during such campaign, but you can add manually any other information you want to collect. So this event is a key event part of the supplier assessment campaign, and it means that during the preparation phase, once I made my kickoff meeting, once I prepare all the necessary materials to present information to the different person involved in this kind of project, I'm going to be able to collect qualitative information from the stakeholders that work with this supplier through this kind of teeny events that are part of the supplier assessment campaign. Once I collected all this information, I'm going to be able to, if necessary, validate this information, and then I'm going to be able to run all my activities regarding the monitoring and the supplier relationship. It means that I'm going to start to publish this information. I'm going to be able to generate a scorecard about the supplier, and I'm going to be able, obviously, to present all those information with the supplier through a real meeting. But during this meeting, the content can be a mix between all the material you previously prepared and all the information present directly in the solution. So if you need to have through the solution, it helps you to generate the scorecard of the supplier. And these scorecards are going to be the aggregation of all the qualitative information that you previously collect through the survey toward internal stakeholder, but also all the available information. It means that if a company, for instance, has a sourcing module and work with the supplier through the sourcing module, all the information available at the sourcing module level are going to be able to populate the scorecard in order to have a kind of 360-degree view of the supplier. If the company has either an integration with an ERP and Ariba or the procure-to-pay module, all the information regarding the procure-to-pay process are going to be able to populate the supplier scorecard in order, once again, to have a 360-degree view of your supplier. And this kind of key information help you in the end to run assessment campaign. And from the moment you have the ability to run assessment campaign, to collect qualitative information from the internal stakeholder that work with the supplier. One the moment you are going to be able to aggregate additional data coming from other parts of either the solution or your ERP through integrated interface, then you are going to be able to monitor risk. You are going to be able to manage your supplier relationship on a fair way. This is the kind of capability that you can typically leverage by using Ariba Supplier Information and Performance Management module. Now I'm going to show you the reporting capabilities. So I'm going to go out this event, and I'm going to go to the Supplier tab, where you are going to be able to see different reporting. What you need to understand about reporting is the fact that reporting, the solution has prepackaged reporting. It means that when you start using the solution, you have no need to create from scratch all the reporting. You can use all the existing reporting, and there is a lot of different reporting. But you can very easily customize all the prepackaged reporting. It means that basically you can use without no change the prepackaged reporting. You can customize a prepackaged reporting, or you can create from scratch a reporting. In terms of capability regarding the prepackaged reporting, you are going to be able to have key information such as supplier performance trending. You are going to be able to have, for example, your top supplier ranking. You are going to be able to monitor best performing supplier, worst performing supplier. You are going to be able to see certificate expiration. You are going to be compare the target versus actual information regarding some key supplier. This is basically the kind of capability you can do. You have the ability from the left side. You are going to see this is a menu where you can access to all the prepackaged reporting available in the solution. I spoke very briefly about data integration. By data integration, I mean that the fact to have the ability to collect different information as well as qualitative information, as transactional information, to be able to have a supplier scorecard with a 360-degree view. I'm going to show you the kind of reporting you can have with this data aggregation capability from a reporting perspective. So this is a 360-degree view report about a specific supplier, and I'm going to see how it looks like and what kind of information you can see and how useful it can be to make some decision. So basically, from this 360-degree view report, you are going to be able to, in this area, to see all the information regarding sourcing and contract. In this area, all the information regarding procure to pay. In this area, all the information regarding contract and the different amounts, the expiration effective date, expiration date, and so on. You are going to be able to see for a period of time the different results of the different scorecards regarding quality, and so on. This is the kind of information you can have with this 360-degree view. What you have to know also about reporting is the fact that you can very easily export your report from the solution to Excel. There is an integration between Ariba Microsoft Excel is working, and you are going to see that you are going to be able to collect all the data, to see all the data available in the report directly in Excel. So basically, you are going to be able to have all the information and to refine all the available information. If I go to another report, for instance, I'm going, for instance, to export this report, and you are going to see that even the graph can be exported directly in Excel. And this is basically very useful if you need to refine, or if you need to to work on your data directly on Excel. So the integration between and the export capabilities between Ariba and Microsoft Excel is very working. So this is, if we come back to the whiteboard, I've just shown to you the fact that you have a capability to assess the supplier performance by running a supplier performance campaign. During this campaign, there is a step-by-step approach that are going to guide you in order to run the campaign. In this campaign, this is kind of project. There is task, there is an owner of the task, there is a deadline, there is some documents that are in relation to the task. Those documents can be external documents such as PowerPoint, such as a Microsoft Word, such as a PDF, such as an Excel file. But it can be also such as an internal survey that are going to be conducted through internal stakeholder in order to collect qualitative data. In the end, all of this are going to help you with the data integration to have a 360-degree view of your supplier and to be able to improve, to monitor and to be aware of your exposure rate to the risk, and to be able to have data to run some review with your supplier. And the reporting capabilities are very strong. It means that first, there is prepackaged report that can be very useful to run this kind of activity. The second thing is you can customize at any time your this prepackaged report. You can create from scratch those reports. You have the ability to export those reports to Microsoft Excel to be able to refine, to rework all the data in order to make your internal reporting, for instance. Yet, all these capabilities, assessment, data integration, and reporting, are going to help you to improve anticipation regarding your supplier. And a good way to measure how you improve your anticipation is to measure the spend coverage. And basically, with Ariba Supplier Information Performance module, our most successful customers are going to improve by 20% the strategic spend managed thanks to this solution. Now I'm going to show you face to the last challenge, which is supplier improvement. I'm going to show you 3 capabilities of the solution that are going to be very useful. The first capabilities is corrective action plan. You are going to see that once you perform your supplier assessment campaign, if there is some issue, you are going to be aware of those issues, and you are going to be able to throw the solution to manage and to follow a corrective action plan in the time. I'm going to show you that the solution can be also used as a knowledge management platform about your supplier. And I'm going to show you how you are going to be able to classify and to grade and to dedicate, for instance, a buyer as a owner of a supplier in the solution. Once again, we are going to come back to the solution. And I'm going to reopen the previous supplier assessment campaign to show you the corrective action plan capability. So you probably have in mind that when you run a supplier performance campaign using this template, there is three different key steps, which is prepare. Prepare, it means prepare all the necessary activity to be done, to collect all the information. when the data collection is over, to be able to publish and to analyze all the information in order to be able to identify the performance of the supplier. And when it's relevant, you are going to be also able to run a corrective action plan. And I'm going to show you that, which is very interesting with the solution. You are going to be able to create a strong link between your the step regarding data collection, the step regarding analysis of the result, and the step regarding the following. What does it mean? At the same time, it means that first you are going to be able to have some templates, some documents such as this Word file, Microsoft Word file, to be able to make like a kind of synthesis regarding the supplier and the different improvements that are necessary. But most importantly, you are going to be able to follow in the time. Why I speak in terms of following the time? Because you are going to see that this phase is regarding basically the second part of the year. But the next part of the year is already available. It means that through a supplier performance campaign, you are going to be able, if necessary, to run and to store corrective action plan in order to fix some issues. But most importantly, you are going to be able to storage all those information in a central and a single place in order to be able in the time to run and to follow the different action. Most of the time, when a company has not such a tool, how it works. Basically, what's happened? Basically, this kind of action are not consistent. It means that from a business review with your supplier to another business review with supplier, the follow-up is not always consistent. Sometimes there is some loss of information, sometimes there is some change in terms of owner of the supplier relationship, and in the end, from a company perspective, as a company buying a service or a product to another company, finally the company has not the ability to monitor and to improve what is necessary to improve. With this solution, you are going to be able to storage and to collect and to storage into a single place all this kind of information, and whatever, if regarding your internal organization there is some change, the owner of the supplier relationship change or not, this standardization of the process are going to be a very useful help to remain consistent in the time. And this is why this capabilities is very useful for a company willing to improve its supplier relationship management. The second capability I wanted to show you, it's about knowledge management. Ariba, it's a solution that helps company to leverage different capabilities to face different challenges. And one capability which is very useful regarding supplier relationship management and which is not very well known is about that this solution can be used as a central place to store some knowledge about your supplier relationship. And I'm going to, in order to illustrate my words, I'm going to show you precisely what I mean. I'm going to open a knowledge project about the IT company performance. And you are going to see in this knowledge project that I stored all the information I have about this supplier in the time. So I have stored all the information regarding the supplier campaign for Q1 2014 all the information for the second quarter, and so on. And this way, what is very useful, just because organization change, it means that one day a buyer is a owner of a supplier relationship, and the day after this is another buyer for different reasons. In the end, sometimes company works for a long time with a supplier without having a very good knowledge management regarding this relationship. It means that finally the supplier can have a kind of advantage to have more information about the relationship than the buying company. This kind of capabilities is a way to be able in the time not to store especially a corrective action plan or a performance campaign, but to store all the necessary information to that are collected about the supplier relation. It means that if you learn from previous projects some key information with the supplier, this kind of information are not be storage in principle in the supplier performance campaign. Perhaps, but this is not always common. So basically, this kind of learning about your supplier can be stored in that time directly in a knowledge project, which helps you to have in single place and in the time all the information you need to have about the supplier relationship. It means that, for instance, any information coming from a project can be stored, but if it's relevant, any information coming from the previous supplier assessment campaign before implementing Ariba, and all other information, if you meet your supplier on a conference, for instance, if you have additional information, if you have some brochure and so on, you can scan and store this information. And this knowledge management capability are very useful in the end to take control on your relationship in the time, whatever the organizational change in your company. And this was the second capability I wanted to show you regarding how to improve supplier relationship. And the last capability I want to show you is the fact that if your internal organization appoint, for instance, an owner for managing a dedicated supplier, you are going to be able to create a link in the supplier profile by a link between this buyer, which is supposed to have an account on Ariba, and this supplier profile. If you have a kind of classification of your different supplier, and by classification I mean if you try to sort your supplier to identify which are my strategic supplier, which are my preferential supplier, which is my transactional supplier, and so on, you are going to be able to define these criteria directly in the supplier profile in Ariba. And if you want to grade your supplier or the importance of the information coming from the supplier, you are going to be also able to manage it. So to show you all I'm just describing now, I'm going to open from a buyer perspective the supplier profile of IT company. So first I'm going to look for my IT company. I'm going to use the search engine. The search engine is available from any tab, including the home page in this area. The first thing I need to know is to define what kind of information I want to find. In this case, this is an information regarding supplier and customer, in this case more suppliers. So I'm going to keep this option. And then I'm going just to type the name of the company. I'm going to click or type enter, and you are going to see that when I type this kind of information, there is a lot of different, there is a very large number of results. I have the ability to refine those results by adding some criteria. So, for instance, I want to identify a supplier I am supposed to manage as an owner. So I'm going to define this criteria, which is the owner. And I'm going to find on the internal master data database me as a user. And I'm going to click. So very easy. In a few clicks, you can find and add additional criteria, including information that are present in the solution. And then I'm going to click on search. And this way, you are going to see that I am the owner of 3 different suppliers, and you can see IT company. So I'm going to click on the IT company, and as a buyer, I'm going to access to those information. You are going to see that this company are going, the supplier profile of this company, you are going to see all the information that the supplier enter from his side. You are going to see that I am the owner of the company. You are going to see this supplier is approved, the different commodity in link with the supplier. At any time, I can edit the profile by adding, removing. I can reject some change, or I can block the supplier. And in terms of information, if there is some change between all the information I had and some information coming from the business network, you can see there is here in information your profile, and the cloud profile for IT company contains different answers. Click it to view the differences. And I'm going to be able to see the differences and accept to update or not my supplier profile in my supplier database. Basically, from the supplier profile side, as a buyer, I'm going to be able to see all the documentation available in link with this supplier. If there is some task, I'm going to be able to see this. Most importantly, I'm going to be able to see all the history. I'm going to be able to have an historical view with this supplier. And I'm going to be able to see some reports directly from the supplier profile. As a buyer, you are going to access to the 360-degree view of the supplier directly in the supplier profile. And as I already mentioned, you are going also be able to grade some answer. It means that if you want not to assess the performance, but to consider from a strategic point of view for your company that, for instance, this criteria is more important than another, you are going to be able to grade the different information in order, in the end, to monitor and to manage your supplier relationship and its performance from your strategic point of view. So, if I come back to the whiteboard, I've just shown to you that at the end of a supplier assessment campaign, and in fact, as part of the supplier assessment campaign, you can manage a corrective action plan. It means that there is a strong link between all the information you are going to collect about your supplier, a summarized view of all those available information, and if there are some issues, you are going to be able to monitor and to store corrective action plan in the time. And this is probably one of the most important things when you want to have a consistent and effective supplier relationship management, is to have a vision of this relationship in the time. I also show to you that there is some knowledge management capabilities that are going to be able to especially manage all the necessary information about your relationship in the time. All the information coming from the supplier assessment campaign, but all additional information such as a commercial brochure and any learning coming from project with your supplier, for instance. And the last thing is depending your internal organization, but if you need to appoint a buyer as a owner of the supplier relationship, if you need to grade the information coming from the supplier regarding your strategic goals or constraints or industry characteristics and so on, you are going to be able to grade. If you need to classify your supplier as a supplier, strategic supplier, preferential supplier, and so on, you are going to be able to manage those kind of criteria directly in the solution. In the end, when you have a supplier as challenge supplier improvement, these kind of capabilities are going to be able to help you to improve partnership. And a good way to measure how my partnership is improving is to measure the percentage of spend under contract. And our most successful customers experience up to 20% improvement of the spend under contract. And this is basically the kind of performance you can reach thanks to Ariba. The last thing I want to speak about is the fact that Ariba, it's a solution that are going to help you to manage, in this case through this module, your supplier information and performance management. But Ariba is not only when you subscribe to Ariba, and I speak about in terms of subscription because it's a cloud-based solution. You subscribe to the use of the solution, but you also subscribe to a lot of services that are included in the subscription. And by services, I mean the fact that, for instance, if some of your existing suppliers are not part of the business network, Ariba are going to help you, and Ariba are going to help the supplier to be in the business network. And basically this kind of enablement and onboarding support are part of the subscription. By support, I mean obviously 24/7 outline available in different languages. And by support, I also mentioned the fact that there is, at any moment, from any part of the solution, you are going to be able to access to some material about training. And for instance, here at the help, I can access to the product documentation. And the product documentation are going to be a mix between some user guide on PDF and some video tutorial to help you to learn or to review how it works. And the last things you have to understand is the fact that Ariba is an open learning solution, because most of the part of the setup activity are delivered directly by Ariba. And this is why this is an open learning solution that can deliver tangible results from the beginning of the use. And the implementation time of such a project are very short, because of the setup is included and delivered by Ariba, because there is a lot of services that Ariba continue to deliver to support both supplier and buyer to use and to leverage different benefits of the solution. This is why this solution is used by more than 1,200 different customers. I can I can make a long list of name dropping of our existing customer, but I prefer to share with you a short video testimony about one customer using Ariba. And I'm going to let HP to speak in term of benefits, how Ariba help HP to bring value and to improve its supplier relationship management.
So at HP, we do supplier performance management, obviously, and within our supplier performance management program, there are three main areas that we focus on. One is the use of internal surveys, where we actually survey our internal business units and stakeholders who are close to the suppliers and close to the actual supplier performance. Another area of our SIPM model is around risk assessment. And from a risk assessment perspective, we focus on two key areas. That's social and environmental responsibility, and then financial stability. And then the third area of supplier performance management at HP is really a focus on innovation and collaboration initiatives with our suppliers, which can span anything from revenue enablement to how well they work with us in the qualification process, how well they go to market with us at times in the services, lines of business, things like that. What we're going to be talking about in the panel later on today is more around a case study where we show how HP has used the Ariba functionality and the Ariba modules to really implement a social and environmental responsibility program or initiative with our key suppliers. And through the use of that module, we're really using the sourcing piece to really pre-qualify suppliers, where we'll go through what's called a light risk assessment if the risk of that particular sourcing initiative, which is based on spend, category, and region, is above a certain threshold. So in those cases, we actually send out a survey to suppliers so that they can tell us about their practices as it relates to environmental policy, health and safety, labor practices, and so forth. And by getting in that assessment from suppliers, we're then able to kind of gauge where they are in their maturity towards social and environmental responsibility, and then have a very good understanding of what their practices are, then and take that into consideration in the evaluation process when we're ultimately selecting the suppliers to do business with. And then upon completion of a sourcing engagement, after a supplier is selected, as they're going through contract negotiations, they then actually have to complete a full assessment, which is actually issued to them through the supplier performance management module, and then it's stored on their supplier profile, and that is something that is refreshed on an annual basis. Really, the key at HP is we want to make sure that we're balancing our view towards corporate responsibility and our business values with our business goals, and really driving our suppliers to be best of breed in their programs. And in cases where we do have suppliers that fall short of what our standards are, we will put them on corrective action programs and actually build that into our contract terms so that they're moving forward towards a more mature model than what they had previously. So it's really a focus on continuous improvement, and HP kind of pushing the envelope and pushing our suppliers in that direction as well.
To conclude this long webinar, I just want to remind that Ariba is a source-to-pay solution. It's an end-to-end solution featuring a spend management module, featuring a sourcing management module, featuring a contract management module, featuring a procure-to-pay or procure-to-order module, which different hybrid scenario in terms of integration with your ERP, whatever the ERP, SAP, Oracle, Microsoft, and so on. And obviously, this solution features supply information and performance management, which was the topic of this long webinar. To conclude, I just want to start with thank you for your time. This is the last webinar of Ariba. This is the 7th webinar. If you need some additional information, please do not hesitate to contact me. You are my personal detail here. If you didn't know, Ariba has its own channel on YouTube, and only in this channel you are going to find a lot of different useful information and testimony. And obviously, the website of Ariba It's very, very well furnished about a lot of different information. So please do not hesitate to catch an eye on YouTube with Ariba channel and to visit again and again Ariba website. Thank you for your time, and I hope this series of webinars are going to be very useful to help you to understand basically what kind of value Ariba help to bring to any organization. Bye-bye.